Welcome to the Green Wave Coaches Show with Gallatin football head coach Michael Stroup and Gallatin News sports editor Blaine Kellar. The Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware. Football season is grilling season. Stop by Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. The Larry Maynard Agency. Give Allstate agent Larry Maynard a call today for all your insurance needs. Macon Bank and Trust. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goals. Dairyberry's Heat and Air. Dairyberry's has been voted Sumner County's best heat and air for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, give us a call today. And the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Now, here are Coach Michael Stroup and Blaine Kellar.
Welcome into the first edition of the Michael Stroup Coaches Show, Green Wave Coaches Show, brought to you by Gallatin High School, brought to you by our wonderful sponsors, and brought to you by Main Street Media Television. I am your host, Blaine Kellar, Sumner County sports editor for the Hendersonville Standard, Gallatin News, and Portland Sun, joined in this first week by Green Wave head coach Michael Stroup. Coach Stroup, first official regular season in the books here as Green Wave head coach. Just to start off here, how has this first week kind of been for you, getting that first game under your belt and kind of getting your cleats in the ground, so to speak, as a coach?
Well, I mean, it would have been a whole lot better if we'd won. But, you know, getting it in and getting it out of the way, you know, and getting to work this week on game 2. So, you know, it's been a good experience so far.
Yeah, excited to see the growth of this team throughout this season and throughout this year, in your first year as Green Wave head coach. And it's a really exciting atmosphere just to start off going into that first game against Hendersonville. The crowd was rocking on both sides, and the points were coming in bunches. Really exciting game for both offenses and for both defenses and spurts. Just did you kind of expect that atmosphere walking into the Wave Yard for the first time in the regular season?
Well, from all indications, and you know, everybody had told me that, you know, the Wave Yard's unlike any other place in the state, and it held true Friday night. You know, and you know, you walk through the crowd of people to get to the field, and then you know, coming off the field, you get the same thing. But there's a lot of pride in Gallatin with their football. You know. So, yeah, it was everything I expected.
Yeah, you know, kind of looking at that game as a whole, 47-33, Hendersonville coming out with the win there. You know, it was an exciting and a really pass-heavy season opener for both teams when you look at it. You know, both of these programs historically like to run the football, but both teams really aired it out. Was that something that you guys were planning on doing? I know that you've talked about in the past that you like to spread things out to your receivers and to your backs to kind of play on an option offense a little bit.
Well, I think offensively, when in the course of a game like that, you know, it kind of changes how you call plays, you know, and you know, when you're playing from behind, you know, you call plays a little bit differently than when you're ahead. So there were some times where, you know, I'd like to, you know, get out there and offensively kind of establish the run game and do some things like that, but we just weren't in a position to do that. So. You know, I don't think. I think it's just the signs of the times. You know, you've got more, you've got better athletes out there, and the ability to spread the ball out and still, you know, be able to, you know, just be able to put the ball in playmakers' hands. You know, and that's what you want to do offensively, and you know, 40 years ago, you know, they ran inside a box. You know, they played football in a telephone booth. Now you play sideline to sideline. So, but no, it was an exciting game, and if you're a fan, you probably enjoyed it. You know, for me, it was agonizing, but you know, it's probably a different brand of Gallatin Hendersonville football for sure.
Well, it's funny we mentioned the offense there, but the first score of the game came on that scoop and score from Kamari Watkins, pardon me. Mm-hmm. You know, what did you kind of see on that play? Just your defense capitalizing on that opportunity and making the most of it there.
Yeah, you know, I think it was a power read on their part, and at first I didn't know the ball was fumbled because of the reaction of both offensive players from Hendersonville. But Kamari had enough wits about him, sit right there and scoop it up and walk into the end zone. So, to be able to get a score and go up, 6-0 there, and then come out and get a 2-point conversion on the very next try. So, it was, up 8-0 there, and, you had a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, pardon me on that part. I was combining Kamari Watkins with Jeremiah Williams, another star player from this game. We'll get to Jeremiah in a second, but looking throughout that first half, Coach, it was really back and forth. Gallatin held a lead for a majority, if not the entirety of that first quarter. Then the lead exchanged hands a little bit in that second, just before halftime. When you look at your first game of the season, as opposed to maybe getting a lopsided win or a lopsided loss, are those close games the ones you want to be in when you're opening the year?
Well, I think it's. I think it kind of builds character for the weeks ahead, and as long as we, play with the effort and the attitude that we played with Friday night, we'll start winning those type games. And you always want to start off with tough competition going into region play, and it builds you for that. It just so happens this is the first two games are rival games, so it puts a little bit more I guess glitz and glamour on the game than what it normally would. But you want to play tough competition and prepare you for your region schedule and all that. So in the past I've always kind of scheduled tougher teams in the beginning to kind of get us ready for that run. Yeah, to answer your question, you want to play tough teams early on.
Game was 19-18 at halftime. Doesn't get much closer than that than being tied. But in the second half, Hendersonville scores on its first 4 possessions to kind of give itself some momentum and separate there. Since looking at the film, Coach, what did you kind of notice from those 4 drives that Hendersonville went on in the second half, and how can that be corrected, as you mentioned, going into that rivalry game against Station Camp?
Well, when you prepare for a team like Hendersonville, you prepare to stop the run, and they do certain things and formations out of that, and then you show up on Friday and they're doing something totally different. So they came out and number 8 for them is a fine football player, and he can do it both in the air and on the ground. They just bettered us there. I mean, we've got to make some adjustments, either personnel wise or schematically, and do a better job of getting our kids ready and prepared for sudden change. And being prepared for things that maybe we necessarily don't see on film. So, but we came in this past weekend and talked about all those things, and the week ahead we've corrected those mistakes, hopefully. But when you have a team like we have, where we have a bunch of guys that are playing different positions than what they played last year, and we have more that haven't played it down. So teaching them how to play. Teach them how to play with effort, those things right there. That's what we're trying to do, and all that other stuff will come. But you first got to teach effort and get that out of them. And I thought we had that. They could have hung their heads defensively and packed it in, but they didn't. They played hard up until the last second. That's what I'm most proud of them about.
Yeah, when we talked Friday night, it was interesting. You mentioned after the game that a couple of fans, a couple of parents, just people in the stands mentioned how hard Gallatin played in that game. And you also brought up the fact that a lot of these kids have been broken, maybe competitively over these last 3 or 4 years in this program. And it's your job as coaches to remind them that they played hard. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit?
Well, kids are kids, and we've got to do a good job of building them up. Now at times you've got to kind of tear them down, but you've got to make sure you build them up. You coach hard, right? But you got to coach with a passion and understand. Every time you correct a kid, you've got to put your arm around them too and tell them how much you love them. And I don't know necessarily how much that was done in the past. So. These kids they're doing everything we ask them to do, 100%, and you can see it every day. We practice at 6 a.m. this morning, to beat the heat, and this week they're there, And some of the coaches were shocked that they're there because they said, well, this probably wouldn't have happened in the past. But it's all about expectations, right? It's all about expectations and laying the groundwork. And kids will do what is expected out of them. And so, these guys, they got to learn how to win. And that comes in many different ways, and that's what we're here to do, is teach them how to win. And sometimes it ain't easy. You got to go through some mucky stuff sometimes, and go through the sewers, as John Madden would say. But you gotta. But once you get through that, it's going to be worth it. You just gotta stay the course and tell them what we're just stay the course while we're doing what we're doing, and in the end they'll reap the rewards from it.
What was that the message that you gave to your players after the game? What exactly did you say to them to let them know that although the result didn't come out the way they wanted it to, that they gave it their all in that game, and that really big rivalry game to open the season? Well,
I told them it hurts. You hurts when you lose to a rival, and it hurts when things don't go your way. But the good Lord put eyes in the front of our heads for a reason. All right, we don't look back. We'll correct our mistakes, but we're going to move forward. And as long as we play with the effort and intensity that we played with Friday, moving forward, then we're going to be fine. There's no doubt about it. Anybody that's ever coached anything understands that. So it's terrible that we lost, and it's hard for the kids because they want to beat their rival. But at the same point in time, you got to find little wins within the game, and there are plenty of positives to talk about within that game. It's just the negatives were so they were just so noticeable, whether it be in the secondary or offensively when we couldn't convert. So we stick with it. We're just going to get better, pin our ears back and keep our head low and just keep on going.
Coach, we talked a little bit about this during the off season and the preseason. How much did you get to appreciate or soak in Jackson's first start as QB here at Gallatin? Mason Baker of Hendersonville obviously had his huge night, but that's not to be undertoned by Jackson's really strong performance as a sophomore in his first start in a Green Wave uniform.
Well, again, I probably don't get to soak it in like a father can because I'm too busy having to coach. But he did well. We threw the ball a little bit more than I wanted to. But again, when you're playing behind or you're trying to get in front of the sticks, you kind of get out of sync a little bit and kind of got to do some extra things. But I thought he did well for being 15 years old and probably never. He's never started a varsity game, and especially on this level. So you're going from D2 single A to 6A. That's a lot of universes in between right there. So I thought he did well. I thought that Hendersonville, got after him a pretty good bit, and he responded well and made some checks and did some things at the line of scrimmage to put us in good situations. So. But he could do more. He can get better. There's a lot of things that he's got to work on to fix. And I tell him just like I tell everybody else. Leadership is a big thing, and you can always do more. I don't care if you go 31 of 31. There's always something more you could do. And he understands that, and he knows that, and he'll be better because of it.
Jackson finished 18 of 31 passing for 228 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had a couple of big fourth down conversions, too. One to Zakian Brinkley that led to a Green Wave touchdown. One to, I believe, a couple to Jeremiah Williams, actually, one leading to a score and another on a just, huge. I think it was almost 4 defenders around him, just a lob up there, to around the red zone there in Hendersonville. And Jeremiah came down and got it. 2 of those guys just really big complimentary pieces, I think, to Jackson and helping him get comfortable. Jeremiah being our Gallatin News Player of the Week. He had 7 receptions, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just what did you notice from those 2 playmakers in helping Jackson kind of settle in his first varsity start?
Well, I think you've got a number of guys that help out in that regard. You've got Jeremiah, but you also have LaDamian out there and Adrian Barksdale on the other side. And then you have, your H-backs with, Abe Goolsby, Marshall, and Kamari. But I thought the O-line did a good job protecting him most of the night. And again, man, we're starting 5 kids up front. Jeremiah Williams is another kid, and Jackson is another kid. None of those kids have played meaningful minutes in a varsity football game. And, we're just going to continue to get better. We're going to continue to learn. We'll make mistakes. But, you surround yourself with – you're only as good as what you got around you. And those guys do a really good job of getting open. And there's some playmakers out there. We just got to get the ball in those guys' hands. I know LaDamian was wanting the ball a little bit more in the first half. We couldn't get it to him. And then the second half, we made adjustments, and he made some big clutch catches for us in the second half. Adrian had a big 53-yard catch on the backside once. And, just continue to get reps, man. This program's never been in an offense like this. And so, we're playing sideline to sideline and end zone to end zone. So, we're kind of, we're out of that little box they played in the past. So, the more we get, more reps we get, the better these kids are going to get. They're going to understand how to, convert their routes. And, this defender does this, so I can do this. So they'll learn all that stuff. Again, we'll get better, 100%.
Well, if Friday was any indication, it's going to be a pretty exciting season for Gallatin, and we're really excited to cover it here, not only as a member of the Gallatin News, but as part of the Green Wave Coaches Show with first-year head coach Michael Stroup. We're going to take a quick break here on Main Street Media Television. When we come back, give you a little preview into this Friday's game against Station Camp. Stay tuned.
As an Allstate agent in Gallatin, Larry Maynard knows many local families. His knowledge and understanding of the people in this community helps him provide customers with outstanding service. Give Larry a call at 615-452-1500.
Football season is grilling season. The Big Green Egg is the perfect grill for everyone. From the backyard cook to the world's most acclaimed chefs. Stop at Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. It's the perfect grill for any grilling need. Dairy Berry's Heat and Air has been proudly serving the Middle Tennessee area for over 35 years. We have been voted Sumner County's best heat and air company for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, call Dairy Berry's at 615-452-8121.
Macon Bank and Trust Company is a proud supporter of the Gallatin Green Wave. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goal. We are local people with local decision-making and ready to serve you.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought it was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I thought I could hold my liquor.
And we're back on the Green Wave Coaches Show, brought to you by our wonderful sponsors here in Gallatin, and brought to you by Main Street Media Television. Gallatin and Sumner County Sports Editor Blaine Kellar, joined by head coach Michael Stroup. Really grateful for just getting the opportunity to recap last week's game and not only look forward to this week's game against Station Camp, but talk about a little bit of the craziness that's happening in Sumner County in the past week. Of course, a huge storyline across Sumner County was this bleachers and stands situation. Coach Stroup, as a first-year head coach and as someone who wasn't thankfully involved in all of this, you got to use both of your bleachers on Friday night. Have you ever experienced anything like what's kind of happened over the past 7 days?
No, it's kind of new to me. But football's been around, and these stadiums have been around for some time now. And when you put years and years over, I think most of them they may be cinder block or concrete stadiums, and it wears down over time. But no, I've never seen the outbreak of stadium closures like I've seen. Outbreak
is a good word. 3 Sumner County schools unfortunately have portions of their stadium shut down for the season, that being Portland, Beach, and Hendersonville. Fortunately, your next week's opponent doesn't have that either, so you can really pack the visitor stands against a Station Camp team that has high expectations for itself in Class 4A. Coach, talk about bouncing back from last week's game and resetting your focus to going on the road and playing another rivalry game.
Well, again, someone asked me that question the other day, I got to focus on us, and getting our kids to understand schemes and understand what we're trying to do and just practice, It's a big game. Mayor's Cup, I do believe, is what they play for. So, our kids they've had a good week of practice, good week of bouncing back. I'm proud of how they responded this week, But again, you're building a program here. Someone mentioned that to me the other night, and the response was building a program, not a team. I'm trying to get the thing going for years to come, and and a lot of that is the culture that we're establishing. Kids being accountable, holding kids accountable. Making sure that team first mentality, things like that. So, all that's being taught, and then you got to figure out how to scheme for an opponent at the same time. So, but we've had a good week of practice. Kids have bounced back. Had a good day yesterday. Was in the gym because of the heat, and it ain't gonna do nothing but get hotter the rest of the week. So we were able to go at 6 a.m. this morning, and we'll do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah, a couple of schools here in the Mid-State have already scheduled their games back to 7:30 because of the weather happening.
That's a great idea.
Is that something that's been talked about yet?
I've suggested it with our administration, but I don't know if our administration has talked to theirs yet.
Station Camp's going to be an interesting game. This is a team that's coming off of a season opening game at White House because of Beach's stadium situation, but the Bison were shut out 21-0 in their season opener. And Coach, in your experience, whether being on that end or facing a team that was on that end, do teams come in more motivated to score whenever they come off of a game maybe where they don't score any points?
No, I'm sure they do. I would want to, but I think at the same point in time, they're in the same boat probably as we are, just trying to find identity and getting their kids to buy in. They've had a coaching change over there as well, so. There's probably some similarities going on over there. So you got two teams that that are playing for I guess it's a rivalry and the Mayor's Cup and all that. So that there's some implications then on that deal. But again, we just want our kids to get out there and get after it and be sound in what we do.
As a coaching staff, I know after Friday's game you mentioned a little bit of whiteboarding, a little bit of plugging and playing after seeing how your schemes kind of played in that first week. Across this weekend and going into this week's game, how much of that has gone on?
We've had a pretty good bit of it. As coaches, we sit there and we kind of look at what we can tinker with and what we can improve on, and sometimes that means you got to move around the pieces to the chess puzzle a little bit. So you may have a young man here or you may have a young man there, and that kid's not working out really well right there. So he's a pretty good athlete, so maybe we put him over here, and then maybe he just kind of blossoms a little bit. So there's a lot of that goes on. There's very little to do with X's and O's, and a lot to do with Jimmys and Joes. So, in making sure they, putting the right kids in the right spots. So that will be a continuous thing until we can find the right pattern.
Well, blink, and before you know it, you're going to be heading into your region opener against a Mount Juliet team that obviously is a pretty big power across the last couple of years here in the Mid-State. Coach, what are you just looking for in this game as a final tune-up, so to speak, for that region opener?
I just want to be better than what we were last week. That's easy as I can put it. Can we improve on the mistakes we had last week? Can we get a first down, and can we stop people from getting first downs? It's that simple. Probably limit, if extensive talk here, I guess, limit big plays defensively. And then, offensively, can we convert third and fourth downs? You know, can we get to the chains? Can we get more than 4 yards on first down? And can we get more than half the yards on second down needed to get a first down? So that's the kind of things, you look for as a coach is just be better than what you were the week before, and so that's what we've been trying to instill in the kids this week.
Great stuff from Green Wave coach Michael Stroup. We're going to take one more break here on the Green Wave Coaches Show, and when we come back, a little bit of a fun question for our guest this week.
Macon Bank and Trust Company is a proud supporter of the Gallatin Green Wave. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goal. We are local people with local decision-making and ready to serve you.
Derryberry's Heat and Air has been proudly serving the Middle Tennessee area for over 35 years. We have been voted Sumner County's best heat and air company for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, call Derryberry's at 615-452-8121. Football season is grilling season. The Big Green Egg is the perfect grill for everyone, from the backyard cook to the world's most acclaimed chefs. Stop at Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. It's the perfect grill for any grilling need.
As an Allstate agent in Gallatin, Larry Maynard knows many local families. His knowledge and understanding of the people in this community helps him provide customers with outstanding service. Give Larry a call at 615-452-1500.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought I was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I thought I could hold my liquor.
Wrapping up the show here, the Green Wave Coaches Show, with one fun question for head coach Michael Stroup. Coach Stroup, if you were stuck on a desert island and for some reason had access to electricity and television, which 3 TV shows would you pick?
Let's see. I'd probably pick Expedition Unknown, Josh Gates. Anything with Josh Gates in it. Anything CSI wise.
Crime Guy.
Yeah, Crime Guy. And then probably any kind of murder mysteries, like those Netflix unsolved mysteries type deals. So, yeah, there you go.
Not really what I was expecting there.
Yeah, I know everybody's been saying you play, football and ESPN and all that other stuff, but yeah, no, that's what I'd watch.
Well, really fun conversation, great conversation with you for this first ever Green Wave Coaches Show, brought to you by our wonderful sponsors here in Gallatin and Main Street Media Television. We'll be back next week with even more great football content and even more fun questions as the Green Wave get ready for their region opener. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Green Wave Coaches Show with Gallatin football head coach Michael Stroup and Gallatin News sports editor Blaine Kellar. The Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware, the Larry Maynard Agency, Macon Bank and Trust, Derryberry's Heat and Air, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.